When Alexander Usyk was a cruiserweight, there were a few boxing analysts that had predicted he would win the heavyweight championship of the world, the undisputed championship of the world specifically. Now, that was during the time when you had Deontay Wilder set to face Anthony Joshua, and for whatever reason that fight never happened. I believe that Deontay Wilder had refused a $100 million DAZN deal at the time to go and sign with the PBC. Now, part of that was because of his mistrust or a certain aspect of racial tribalism that had come into play in terms of opposing Eddie Hearn, only years later to come back and become one of Eddie Hearn's captains on a 5-on-5 versus Frank Warren's boxing promotion. But that's neither here or there. Just like what's happening in the world of the UFC right now, you got Tom Aspinall trying to get a fight with Jon Jones, and for whatever reason, that's not going to happen. But let me tell you about a fight that has more of a chance happening than Tom Aspinall, and that's Alex Pereira. So obviously, Alex Pereira has looked great as of some recent times. Jamal Hill, part 2 of Jiri. Now, on top of that, Khalil Roundtree. I'm going to give you some criticisms, right? Khalil Roundtree is not a wrestler. He wasn't a threat in the department of striking. In terms of long-term threat, you see, during the fight, he was a threat. Very threatening, Khalil Roundtree. Only a few rounds later, here comes Alex Pereira doing what Alex Pereira does best, and that's hit you hard, hit you fast, and hit you out of nowhere to finish you. On top of that, he busted up Khalil Roundtree to the point where, in my humble opinion, Khalil Roundtree is going to have a very hard time recovering from that, and it's going to show effects into his career later down the road. But that's neither here or there. What we have right now is Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira. Now, is this a great possibility of happening? Absolutely. But at the same time, it's a fight that Jon Jones can win in terms of his wrestling prowess. When you look at Khalil Roundtree, he promised that he was not going to shoot a takedown in this fight, and he didn't. Jon Jones is going to shoot from the hip, round 1, in the first 10 seconds, especially if you're Alex Pereira. And if he's unsuccessful, he can still match Alex Pereira's striking to a certain extent. But if all else fails, the wrestling is going to be there. Unlike Tom Aspinall, who's a jiu-jitsu black belt, who is huge, who can move like Alexander Gustafsson in his prime and has knockout power, Jon Jones has a serious problem in his hands with Tom Aspinall. Now, it is obvious that Jon Jones has a fight with Stipe Miocic coming up next month. We have to wait and see what happens with that. In other words, maybe not just Jon Jones, but let's say if Stipe wins, and by the way, we're constantly counting Stipe out in this fight. There is a possibility that he can win. And if he does, he can get that Alex Pereira fight. In fact, it would probably be a lot easier to make that Alex Pereira fight. But what if you can convince Jon Jones and say to him, you know what? I think we got a good fight ahead of us with Alex Pereira. He's a big name. Right now, he's becoming the face of the UFC while you're being inactive, while Conor McGregor is being replaced every other card. Here comes Alex Pereira to the rescue. Jon Jones has a great chance of beating him. He's a big name. On top of that, I'm talking about Alex Pereira. He's a big name. Jon Jones has a great chance of defeating him just based on the style alone. Far more than Tom Aspinall. And everyone knows that. Or at least everyone thinks they know that. Because for all we know, Tom Aspinall and Jon could fight tomorrow. And Jon could lay a head kick on Tom that would lay him out. But again, a lot of people are saying highly unlikely because Jon Jones is a little bit slower now. He always has been. He never really was a fast-moving fighter, especially on his feet. So he's got a better chance of beating Alex Pereira. And not only that, he can go out on top and really solidify himself as a GOAT. Because let's be honest, him fighting Stipe Miocic, it doesn't seem respectable to the eyes of the hardcore fans. It's just really not. Let's be honest about it. Jon Jones wants to leave with a legacy that can't be denied. And right now, he's looking like a coward. Well, actually, it's quite far-fetched to call one of the top fighters of all time a coward. That's definitely something he's not. But what I will say is that there is evidence to suggest that he's ducking Tom Aspinall at this current moment of time. But once he gets done with that Stipe Miocic fight, he has a choice. You take on this guy who's a little bit harder, probably a lot less money, because let's just be honest, a lot of people don't know who Tom Aspinall is. Right now, we are at the verge of many people knowing who Alex Pereira is. For sure, Trump probably knows who Alex Pereira is. I'm sure he's known who Tom Aspinall is. He's met him, but prior to that, he didn't know who he was. And a lot of people that you know, let's say your grandma, your mother, your father, your uncle, I guarantee you they don't know who Tom Aspinall is. But they know Jon Jones, and Alex Pereira is not that far away from becoming a superstar in ways that he deserves because of him constantly stepping up when McGregor pulls out, when this person can't make it, or this and that. And this, he's always the one that's willing to raise his hand and show up. So you can't deny Alex Pereira of his superstardom. But if you're Jon Jones's manager, and we're talking legacy, and we're talking resume at the end of your career, I would advise him, hey, take on Alex Pereira. He has no wrestling, at least not in comparison to yours. You can probably stand with him because Jon Jones is one of those guys that I believe can literally do anything, right? Or maybe not, but if all else fails, he has the wrestling to fall back on. So this is a matchup that we never would have expected. And as for Jon Jones, it's a matchup that he would have never expected as well because Alex Pereira just took over that division as soon as he decided to vacate. And obviously there was this pass around of the belts with Glover, with Jan, and then from Jan to Yuri, and then from Yuri to Jamal Hill, and then from Jamal Hill now in the hands of Alex Pereira. And then there's Ankalaev. Let's not forget about Ankalaev in this equation. You want to know why? Because Ankalaev is on a 10-fight winning streak. But you know what? Not a lot of people are really giving him any credit in terms of pushing him to get a title shot. And you want to know why? Many people don't like his style. Let's just be honest about it. I love Ankalaev. That's my man. That's my fellow Muslim brother. But many people are just not happy with his fighting style. And the reason why they're not happy with his fighting style is because to the casual fan base, it's considered boring. Now, I'm sure there are people out there that would consider Alex Pereira boring, but I don't know why. The guy gets knockouts. The guy gets knocked out. The guy's in firefights that you would love to see. He's far from boring. But Ankalaev, it's a hard sell, especially in the era right now where the UFC is tied in with a WWE and everything is predicated on what you can do in terms of entertainment value. And if you don't have that entertainment value, well, you're going to get pushed to the side. Well, I tell you what, here's a solution to all of this. Get Jon Jones to fight Alex Pereira and then have Ankalaev come in there and pick up the pieces because, let's be honest, there's a great chance that Jon Jones can beat Alex Pereira in terms of my own official prediction and that. At least right now, obviously, if they sign this fight and it's down the road, perhaps maybe. I may change my mind. But right now, it's Jon Jones, just based on the wrestling, based on his experience, and the fact that he can neutralize anybody at any given time, especially with grappling. Because like I said, Jon Jones has the experience to stand with Pereira, but he also has the wrestling in his back pocket if anything else goes wrong in that equation. Now, when will this fight take place? I'm going to make a bold prediction about this and say that it's going to be for International Fight Week in the summer of 2025. Let's just think about the process here, right? So right now, Pereira has been active. There's a good chance that he can just rest for a couple of months, right? Get himself back in fighting shape, or, I mean, he's already in fighting shape, but more so in fighting recovery, right? Because even, I mean, look, he did take a few damaging shots by Khalil Roundtree, not significant, but I think that he deserves a well-needed break. So sit him out for a while. Then there's Tom Aspinall. I don't know where he is in this equation, but I would imagine that they're going to wait until the Jon Jones Stipe match to, I would suppose, maybe fight him out. And if he retires from there, they're going to give it to Tom Aspinall as the vacant champion, sort of like an email champion in what they call boxing. Again, full circle, kind of bringing this back into boxing, as I had started this video talking about Alexander Usyk. So, I think Jon Jones, if he was to vacate, there is a chance that he would still come back and fight. And that would be Pereira in International Fight Week in the summer of 2025. Because, yes, so let's recap that again. Jon Jones fights Stipe, vacates. They give the undisputed championship to Tom Aspinall. They're going to have to sort out what sort of opponent he's going to have at that point. Maybe Tom Aspinall is going to sit out for a while. I could picture Tom Aspinall sitting out for a long time because he has no contenders to fight other than Jon Jones. But in the meantime, while he vacates, there is a chance Jon Jones comes back and fights Pereira at International Fight Week in the summer of 2025. So that is my official prediction. I don't know if that's true or not. Only time will tell, especially in this world of the theater of the unknown, in the world of mixed martial arts, and from what we brought back in full circle, boxing as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in my next content to come, inshallah.